Welcome everybody. We are in session 10 of our class today, and we will talk about web applications testing. We still have lots of web applications. It's not like everything is now mobile, but definitely the focus today is not on web applications testing, but really the mobile applications testing. I remember time, let's say 15 years ago, when everybody was moving from testing Windows applications toward testing web applications, and everybody was asking, how would we test web applications? What is the difference between testing web applications and Windows applications? So it was a big issue 15, 16 years ago. Today it is very common. It's everywhere. Even if your company is a mobile application company, but you know what, still it does have a website, and it might have lots of functionalities there. It might have forums, it might social networking features, it might have some e-commerce things on it, and so it is very common. It is very common to test web applications. So guys, if I ask you, let's go to Skype. Okay, if I ask you, you have to test, let's say, Amazon.com, which is a web-based application. How would you approach testing Amazon.com from the Windows application testing standpoint? So it's not about selling books or electronics. I mean, it's a part of that, but when it comes to web part, so what would you do to test Amazon.com as a web application? What would you do? Create an account. Create an account is purely about functionality. So it's not about web testing. GUI. Okay, let me run Notepad so I will take notes. So you're saying GUI, and when we say GUI, we normally say usability, because GUI is a part of usability. We need GUI because we care about usability. Security. Yes, security is a big time issue. Yes, security for web application is very different from any other type of application. Sure. So security, buy something. Buy something is not about web. Add to the cart, searching field, searching catalog. Yeah, but it's not exactly directly related to the web. Register, make purchase, sell product, try to buy first, email what? Controls, payments, navigation. Navigation, okay. What is navigation, by the way? Navigation. Navigation is specific to web. Localization is not specific to the. I mean, localization is much broader than just web. There might be some specifics of web in localization, yeah, but so navigation, dynamic pages. So someone watched our video, dynamic pages, okay, which you are all supposed to do. Compatibility testing of the website. There is no compatibility testing if you really think about it. There is no compatibility testing. It's not just compatibility, and compatibility doesn't come as just one word. So it comes as a browser compatibility, or operating system compatibility. Sometimes we call it, instead of browser compatibility, we say cross-browser testing or cross-platform. Good. Load testing. Yes, load is important. So we have load. Let's put them together. Load, performance, stress. Good. Spelling. Mobile device responsive. It's not about mobile device really. Validate, does the email come to the user to verify his registration? Really, when I ask the question, so I expect you to listen to the question and answer the question. See what I mean? I'm not asking you how would you test functionality. I'm asking you how would you test it from the web testing perspective. What is web specific? Web specific. It thinks it's a good idea to start with understanding what is the web application about, to get familiar with common market requirements and understand what should we need to. Again, I'm asking you web specific. Gray box. Gray box is how you test certain things. Doesn't answer the question really. Why would you do gray box? What exactly you are going to test with the gray box? What is that? So why do you need gray box? Okay, so that's it. Accessibility test. What's accessibility? What is that? What do we have there? What do we have in extra group? Timeout. Load, performance, stress. We have it already. Accessibility. Accuracy of the text, prices, graphics of the products. But again, is it web specific? Guys, I keep asking you the same question and you keep ignoring my question. Web specific. Browser compatibility, but we talked about it already. Okay, yeah, we have browser compatibility. Intuitive understanding. Oh God. Okay, so just few of you watched the video before the class. So, and you're supposed to watch the video before you go to the classroom, because otherwise we are not going to talk about the subject matter. We're gonna do what you didn't do as a homework. HTML. What do you mean? How would I test HTML? I do not understand. I'm a tester. How would I test HTML? What is that? Okay. So guys, so far what we've got is GUI. Let's do GUI slash usability. Security is a big issue. Navigation is relatively easy. Browser compatibility is relatively easy. Operating system, same thing. Load, performance, good. So those are all web specific types of things. You might say, but GUI and usability we do for others. Yes, but set of requirements is different. So we have different guidelines. So we have guidelines which are web specific. So let's take a look at your class page first. So your class page has some resources, as far as I remember. Portnow.com, January, yes. Here is your class, and then we have resources here. So it says standards for web applications. For Windows, we have one thing. For web, we have another one. So when you go there, you have that brown, well, part of the screen. So if you click on it, it says guidelines. If you click on the guidelines, you can download the file. I hope so. Browse all the guidelines. Yeah, browse all usability guidelines. No? There should be a book there. Yeah. So we have chapter by chapter. Don't you have the one file which gives you everything? No. Interesting. There used to be just a single file for that. No, it's like, which is fine. Which is fine. At least you have some. Okay, so chapter by chapter is better than nothing, I would say. Okay. Interesting. The page changes all the time. So every time I come here, there are some changes. Okay. Okay, good. So we have guidelines, which makes it a little bit different. Okay, here is the session. You were supposed to watch that video, and it looks like just maybe a couple of you did that. Okay. There is an article here, and I don't know if you really did the reading, because it also comes with lots of different things. But so far we will start with looking at web application architecture. So if you click on the link, there's going to be a file coming to your system. So I have it on my desktop open. So we talk about web applications architecture. There are a couple of terms here which you will see when it comes to that. So two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture, and what you see in front of you here is a three-tier architecture of a web application. So what do we have here? First of all, we have client application. So it says client side. Okay, client side. What do you have on the client side? You have a computer. Here is the computer. That old-fashioned looking computer. Now, operating system is installed on the computer, and then inside the operating system we have a web browser. Let's say we have Windows 8. Okay, we have a web browser. Inside the web browser you see the web applications there. So you have client side. Okay, so when we talk about three-tier application, so what do we have? We have client application, something which opens in your browser. Okay, opens in the browser. So what is a browser? So now you can tell me, guys, what is the job of a browser? Tell me, what is browser for? What does it do? What does browser do? Collects info from database. No way. Send requests. Connect with server. Shows web page. Requesting data. Send requests. Open web page for client. Sends requests. Okay. So definitely browser does couple of jobs, not just one. But when we talk about client application, so when you look as a user, okay, as a user, when you look into your browser, so that browser will visualize the information on the web page, the web application. So browser is interpreting. So one of the jobs of the browser is to interpret, to visualize the code, which is HTML and JavaScript and CSS, a couple of things are there. So that is what the browser does to the client, which is obvious, so to the user. Then browser really talks. Yeah, browser will talk to the back end, so to the web server. And let's go there. So client application. Then we have web server. And client application sits on the, well, let's call it, okay, web server. And then we have database server. No, I'm sorry. Web server applications. Okay. So you know what? We will not. We will change it a little bit. So we have client application. So we have web server. We have application server. We talk about architecture. So server and server and server. So we have three servers: application server and database server. When we talk about server, you can think about computer. So there is a computer which runs some application. When we talk about your computer running your browser, so it's a little bit different. So it's not a part of three-tier architecture. So you have a browser, and it is right here. Okay, you have a browser right here, or there is a browser on mobile device. So we have browser on PC and we have browser on mobile device, but still we have browsers going to the web. Good, and the browser talks to the what's called web server. And what web server does, just kind of file storage of files. So means it doesn't do no logic in it. Yeah? It doesn't do computations, things like that. Just keeps the files. So if I go to, let's say, Amazon.com, and so now I hit the enter key, boom. So what am I seeing on my screen? What happened after I pushed the enter button on my keyboard? So what happens? So a browser sends HTTP. They use HTTP protocol to communicate between browser and web server. So my browser sends HTTP request to the web server. Say, listen, we've got something for you. And then there is some communication, some exchange of signals between web server and browser. So they synchronize to let that information to be transferred to the web server. And the file which I just opened here, and what is that file? Maybe Amazon.com/index, let's say index HTML, probably like that. Let me try. Yeah, that is the file. So, and there is a file, just a file. So I can refresh and do whatever I do, but it is still going to be there. It is sitting on that server. Now let me do something here. Let me say, and it knows me. So, hello, Mikhail. So it knows me. Probably maybe I logged in before. And I'm saying, well, Mikhail Portnov. Okay. Boom. listen, it found my book, see? It found my book, and now I have another page on my screen. What is that page about? Does it exist as a file on the web server? No, not really. They do not have files for each and thinkable and unthinkable search which user might perform. But how come I see that page, nicely formatted page? What happened here? What happened here? Okay, let's talk about this. Where are we? Here. So what happens? I type something into the browser window and then I push the enter button. And then another HTTP request goes to the web server. And web server cannot search anything. Web server is a storage of the files. So what happens then? That information goes to the application server. So application server is a computer which keeps back-end application running on it. So what is the meaning of back-end? It's not front-end. It's not visible to user. It is somewhere, okay, somewhere on the back-end. And it has a couple of layers: presentation layer, business logic layer, data access layer. So business logic layer will decide what do I really want. I want to find something which has two words in it, Mikhail and Portnov. So what business logic does? It creates SQL statement. It creates SQL statement so it could be sent to the database. To go to the database from business logic layer, it goes to the data access layer, which knows how to talk to database, and then it goes to the database. Then database does the search, and it comes back with search results. So search results go back to data access layer. Then business logic layer will figure out what's in there, and presentation layer will create the HTML JavaScript file. Not file, the code. It will create the code. And that code will be sent to you through the web server. It will go back to your browser. But where is it? So when I look at that page, where is that page? That page is in the cache of your computer. So it is called dynamic page. It's not a static page. It's not a file which is saved. It is a dynamic page. Okay, so it is done on the fly. So now you understand how it works together. So web server is a storage which doesn't do any logic. The entire logic is done by the application server. And then application server has interface to the database server. So the application which runs on application server has interface to the database interface, and then they communicate. So it is called three-tier application. So web server, application server, database server. Is it possible to keep all three on one computer? Imagine I have just one computer, and on that computer I keep my web server, my application server, and my my web server application. I keep the files. I have the application which does the processing, and I install my database on that same computer. Is it possible? Oh yes, it is. So the problem is now, if I want to change something, then let's say my traffic keeps growing and I need larger database. What am I going to do now? I have to rewrite the whole thing. The entire system should be rewritten. But if I structure it in such a way that I have three different applications, three different modules, I can change one module without impacting other modules. So it gives me more flexibility when I have to do changes. with my application. So that is why 3-tier application is very common, and so it gives me more flexibility when it comes to the changes. Okay, any questions so far? No? Nobody is asking anything. I don't know if you understand everything or you do not understand anything. So it's okay. It's okay. So here we come to the idea of gray box testing. Gray box testing. When it comes to testing web applications, there is a great deal of gray box testing involved. For example, okay, here it is. For example, when you type that portnob.com blah blah blah, and then it goes to the web server, and then it goes to the application server and database server. Look, each server, all 3 servers have log files. Log files. And log files are needed to keep track of what happened. So when I do that search, there is a record in the web server log file and application server log file and the database server log file. So and it should be done by following certain rules. There are certain rules for building the log file. Now, if you want to test that from QA side, how would you do that? So you need access to the log files, yes. You might need some tools to look through the log files. Okay, let me type it for you. Okay, so let's say gray box testing. Examples of gray box testing: analyzing log files. How would I analyze log files? So I might use some tools. Which tools? I don't know. It depends what kind of information you want to extract from there, and how big are the files. Normally they are huge. Then you can use some programming languages. Programming. Let's say programming slash scripting. Scripting languages. So let's say you write a little script, let's say 10, 15, 20 lines in Python or Ruby or Java or C#, whichever language you know, and that script will parse the entire log file, trying to find specific keywords which signal about specific errors. Is it possible? Yeah. Someone should test the log files. Not to mention that you might intentionally do some transaction, some search or whatever, and then you look at the entire log file for that specific transaction. Not like for thousands of transactions, just for one. You take that one transaction and you manually go through the log file, making sure the log file is built out of correct information for that specific transaction. So you don't use any tools, you don't use any languages. You still need some access to the file, and you have to open that file in using some tools, some applications. But so that is an example of using of doing gray box testing. Another example of doing gray box testing would be working with HTTP requests and responses. So let's say validating, okay? Validating HTTP request responses. HTTP request responses using then you need some tools. There is a tool called Fiddler. And Fiddler is specifically the tool which allows you to intercept HTTP requests and responses and look at the request and response before it actually goes one way or another way. So you look at it, you can even type something in if you understand the HTTP protocol, and so you can modify it and see if it actually works. It is a debugging tool. Fiddler is a web developer debugging tool. So that is how a developer finds out how it should be really done, so to making sure it's done nicely. But you can use Fiddler to do that, to test the requests and responses. So you have two examples of gray box testing here. Okay, so one requires using the tool, and another one requires knowledge of some programming language. So I'll give you another one. Validating database records. Validate database records for various transactions. Okay, transactions and let's say user registration. How would you do that? So you have database here, and let's say you go to Amazon.com and you don't have an account. You create an account. What happens as a result of you creating an account? So there is some record in the database here. So you have to open that record and look inside. You can do that manually, obviously. You can use tools, and normally databases come with tools. And there might be some generic tools for doing that. So that part is not that much important. So you can do it manually. You can okay, to do it manually you still need a tool. So you can do it with a tool, or you can do it by writing SQL query, which will bring you the information from that record. So validating database record for the transactions. Or let's say write. Okay, write SQL statements. It's like your resume bullets. Write and execute. SQL statements to validate database records for various transactions and user registration. So it should bring you what you actually typed in when you created that registration or that transaction. So guys, if you have it in your resume, it will really make it nicer if you have things like that. So Fiddler, if we talk about Fiddler, let's go to YouTube. Okay, YouTube, and in YouTube I will say Fiddler web debugger tutorial. Okay, tutorial. And by the way, this is ours. So Fiddler web debugging proxy tool tutorial, Fiddler 2.0 using download, install, blah blah blah. So that is the video we keep on our school website with almost 58,000 people watching. Oh no, I didn't want to go there. So we have tutorial like 15 minutes. But you also have other people with their tutorials. If it is just 1 minute, maybe it's not really helpful. But then look at that guy. He talks, Eric Lawrence, so it's like 50 minutes. Okay. Fiddler is the world's most popular web debugging tool used by developers, testers, and other web technologists worldwide. Guys, spend a couple of hours of your life on that, Fiddler stuff. And then you might be positioning yourself, as a real good web application tester dealing with gray box. So if you do that, well, it will give you a lot. And again, it doesn't take like 20 hours or 50 hours, just a little bit. Not to mention that we have it for you also. Now, Fiddler. Fiddler is not the only tool which does that, but you don't need more than one. Okay, going back here. SQL. We do have sessions on SQL, which we give you. Here is your video page. So we give you access to the video page with lots of different technical things, including SQL. So David, who does SQL here, David is doing that Fiddler session, and he is real good in test automation. And if I go to YouTube and I say SQL tutorial, okay, SQL tutorial, okay, yeah, here is David at the very top of YouTube with 420,000 people who watched his videos, and look at that, guys. I can tell you, not many people in the world have such a proportion. Okay, 1,000 likes with 62 dislikes. I mean, it's an amazing proportion. So, and we have 4 hours of that stuff. We give you access to that. So learn a little bit of SQL, learn a little bit of Fiddler, practice a little bit, and then, so guys, you can install Fiddler, you can install Oracle, you can install everything. I mean, in your life, it's free, and practice a little bit. So the more you do outside of what we talk about in that classroom, so the easier it becomes to get a job. Okay, coming back here. So Fiddler, guys, is must. Okay, it's not a big deal. Now we are going back to your video page. Where is video page here? Is this one? No. Go back to the video page. No, not here. Video. So we keep scrolling. Now we do teach full-featured web testing class here at night, with not many people actually taking that class, because it's not exactly the primary stuff you have to know. And what I did, I videotaped the first session of that class, which is 4 hours. But out of 4 hours of the class, we've got 3 videos, 1 hour big each. So we are looking at, let's say, 3 hours of web testing theory. So it has 95% of what you might need, to know to test web applications. So that is, when it comes to the theory of web applications testing, you have it right here. Good. In case you don't know, we have HTML for you, and XML, and JavaScript, and VMware. Unfortunately, the second lecture was deleted by YouTube. I don't know what happened, but it's not there anymore. Okay, we have another teacher doing SQL. Actually, the teacher is Marina. She will be teaching tomorrow the project. Okay, Selenium. Good. Now we go back to YouTube, and when you go to YouTube and you say Portnoy School, that is our channel. Let me send it down to the Skype window. Okay, so YouTube channel. Then we go to videos here, and the last 13 videos are talking about test automation with Selenium. We did that with you guys in online class, with you in mind. So you can study Selenium. So the instructor, her name is Olga, So Olga was using my system, so exactly where I am sitting right now. So she used my system to come up with that class, which altogether could be, I don't know, maybe 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours altogether. In 4 hours, she gives you the fundamentals of Selenium, and you can really do it. I mean, not something substantial, but basic stuff. So you can put it in your resume. And you can talk about Selenium. Selenium is a web application test automation tool. There is a version of Selenium for mobile. It's called Appium. Appium is Selenium for web, for mobile apps. Okay, Appium. So if you know Selenium, you can do Appium. Selenium comes with all the popular programming languages, specifically Python and Ruby, and then Java and JavaScript and C# and God knows what else. It comes with 10 programming languages. Whichever you like, you can use it with Selenium. So you do that. Then we have David teaching the web application testing. See? Lesson 1.3, 1.2, 1.1. So we have 1, 2, 3 lectures. HTML, mobile. Just a second. Let's go for more videos. Then we have SQL. And then we have two sequels. So one was done at some point, and then we did another one which is updated. So that is how it happens. So we have basically two courses, one the older one and the new one, which is mentions the older one. 320,000 is the most recent one, one out of 4. And then we have another one. So then we have, look at that. Then we have Fiddler, bug debugging proxy. Okay. Then we have ping command. Guys, ping command is also a part of the web application testing class. So we have, I believe, four pieces which I videotaped for you in the web testing class. So one piece is Fiddler. Another piece is ping command, which is extremely nice stuff to know. Not a big deal. Look, 10 minutes, 9 minutes. Software testing tutorial for beginners, test automation and computer assisted testing. So it talks about test automation in general, just 5 minutes, but it's very fundamental. And then JMeter. JMeter is a load testing tool. Load testing tool. It is free. So 23 minutes, and you can download, and you can use, and you can practice, and we can put it in your resume. So how would it look in your resume? Let's say in your resume, it's not exactly gray box, but somewhat. Okay. Let's say when it comes to web applications testing, so we would say utilized JMeter tool for load testing of the application of the application for load. There are more expensive, more advanced tools. For example, LoadRunner. So LoadRunner comes from Mercury Interactive, and LoadRunner provides lots of documentation on the test. For example, if you have to do load testing to pass the certification test, which you have to pass to be eligible for this and that, then you will need LoadRunner. If you just want to make sure that your application survives, let's say, 3 hours of such and such traffic coming to the backend server, so then you use JMeter. So it's not a big deal, really. No challenge to learn that stuff. It's very simple stuff, and we have a video for you. So what else now? It's not about gray box, but let's say web testing. So we are coming with resume bullets here. So what can you say about web testing? You can say provided cross-browser and cross-platform testing of the application pages. Okay, cross-browser means what? Good. It means let's say Chrome and Chrome, and then you come maybe Chrome, some specific version, or maybe without version. Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Internet Explorer, what else? I don't know. Whatever browsers you might bring there, Opera, Safari. And cross-platform. And cross-platform will be Windows 10, 8, 7, Mac OS 10, for example, of the application pages. And guys, if you just copy paste what I just wrote here, you are in trouble. Because I'm not doing that so you can copy and paste to your resume. I'm doing that I'm doing that so you can start thinking about it, so you can rewrite that for yourself. Okay? Cross-browser, blah, blah, blah. Now, what is cross-browser testing in our case? You look at the exact same thing, but in one browser, it looks one way, in another browser, it looks another way. It might function differently, because you remember, browsers are interpreting the HTML JavaScript code. And browsers are developed by different companies, different groups of developers. Even if we look at same company, there might be different group of developers doing that browser for Mac and doing that browser for Windows 8. So they have different mistakes. So you have to make sure that whatever browser they use, running under whatever operating system, then you still users are still able to do it. And you might say here, provided cross-browser pages in virtual machines environment. So virtual machines allow you to create operating systems, different operating systems on your own computer. It will mimic other operating systems. So we have a lecture on virtual machines, and you have millions of stuff on YouTube, and you can install it for free. Let's say testing of the application in virtual machines, and let's say you use one from Oracle, yeah. VirtualBox. So VirtualBox is Oracle's virtual machine, which is available for free. So now, guys, you are gurus of everything. Not everything, but web application testing. If I look at that stuff here, I'm impressed already. But we didn't finish yet. We mentioned that before, but let me just write it here. So what we also do, we are validated, so let's say validated compliance of the application with usability guidelines published by the US Department of Health and Human Services. Let me show you. That is the name of the organization. US Department US Department of Health and Human Services. That is the organization which publishes the guidelines. Okay, good. Look at you guys. You are, wow, it's a killer resume. Now, you suggested a couple of more things. You suggested security stuff, but again, security is very special. If you do some research on that, you can mention, but it's kind of tough. It requires special knowledge. Dynamic pages. We didn't touch dynamic pages, but I can tell you we do have it in our video, the one you are supposed to watch. So I'm not going there right now. I'm just saying here that tested website navigation and dynamic pages. So tested website navigations and dynamic pages. Okay, good. And that is specific to web testing. I mean, we are not talking about writing test cases. We are not talking about writing bug reports. We are not talking going to meetings. Really, I didn't touch anything like that so far. We talk about specifics of web application testing. So that is what we've got here, specific to that. I'm not explaining what kind of application it is. No, I'm saying nothing. I'm not talking about features it has. Nothing. I didn't say anything about Amazon, specific functionality. But if I tested Amazon, I will talk about this functionality tested. If I tested, I don't know, LinkedIn, I will talk about functionality tested. It's not the case so far. Guys, let me ask you. Do you realize that you are kind of, or let's say almost, gurus of web applications testing? Am I saying the truth? Or you think I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit? So nobody says anything. Did I lost you? Guys, are you there? Oh yeah, you are there. At least now, not gurus yet. Oh, you are very shy. You are very shy. You just say, I'm a guru, okay? And then everybody believes you. You are almost a guru. You are one day from being a guru right now. You just watch the load testing, the JMeter video. You just watch the Fiddler video. Guys, you will be enjoying that stuff. It's very exciting. Not yet. Yeah. Not yet. Look, if you are not a guru yet, doesn't mean you shouldn't be looking for a job. Doesn't mean you have to be a guru to look for a job. Are all the jobs just for guru? Yeah, you still need a couple of hours, guys. No doubt about it. You still need a couple of hours. And so I'm reminding you that tomorrow you have first session with Marina, teaching a new project, and then Thursday you will finish the project with Jana. I was asking Oracle. I was trying to install it yesterday, and after installing it, to add Vista or other one, it needs ISO files. Are they available for free as well, or do we have to pay for it? Vista operating system? It's kind of weird to me. So I would say, guys, you have a crowd of people in that group, and some of you have administration experience. So my suggestion is address that to the group, because I never installed Oracle myself in my life. Anytime I needed something, it was installed by system administrators. So you have the privilege of installing it yourself on your home computers. So I don't know, but let me tell you, you have enough expertise in your group to do that. Believe me. Okay, so I will talk to you in a week. And meanwhile, let me see where we are. we are talking about next session, which is interview questions, software QA interview questions. We have QA interview questions, and we have 2 sessions for software testing interview questions, where we will be talking about types of software testing. So that session requires certain preparation on your side. Guys, you have a video which talks about all the QA questions. You have survey to do after that. You have all the questions here. Make sure you can answer each and every question here, guys. Okay? So session 11 is very important. And let me ask you, you installed Oracle with Marina. Good. Oh, but Marina is from previous group, so maybe Marina will, Olga is from previous group. We'll see. Now, oh, you are saying there is a video on installation of Oracle in the previous class? Is it what you are saying? Okay, Olga, please find that video on Oracle installation. Just find that video and give us a link, I mean, to the group. So we can look how you installed that video with Marina. Okay, so I think we are pretty much done. Guys, thank you very much. I hope you will spend some time, preparing to the class. My understanding is that to come prepared to the next session, you have to spend maybe 4 or 5 hours. Okay, just do it, please. We do not have anything we can really ignore or just pay no attention to when it comes to interview questions. Okay, so it was my pleasure to entertain you today, and so guys, I hope you will not do too much of web applications testing in your life, but you know what? We have still lots of graduates doing web applications testing. And even if they do mobile testing, there is some web application testing involved. So it's a good area to be knowledgeable in. Okay? So thank you very much. Let me stop the recording and I'll talk to you in a week.